I want to introduce Mr. Tony Garza to you. Many of you may already know who he is. He has a wealth of experience both in academia as well as professionally. He has been with HLP-USD for 6 years. He's been with us for 2. He's had 4 years of work with preschoolers, ages 3 to 4 in a special day class setting, and 2 years in an inclusion setting. He is also an adjunct professor at Hacienda City Colleges and is currently teaching 2 classes, behavior management and special education, as well as introduction to child development. He also holds a master's degree in early childhood education, and he is a relationship with BICM, B-I-C, which stands for Behavior Intervention Case Manager. So we feel like we've got the best man on board to deliver the important information that we're going to share with you today. So thank you for coming. I just ask that you do make sure you sign in. Some of your students as teachers are offering percentage fee here, so we want to make sure they get the credit. Also, if you've got young children and you or they are not comfortable being here during this time, we do have child care right outside of the laptop for them to play these supplies. Okay, so make sure to go over to Mr. Garza.
Yay!
I'm going to go without the mic. Everybody can hear me, right? Okay, so as Ashley said, I am a preschool special education teacher. Now, the reason I chose to be a preschool special education teacher, well, one reason, special education, I wanted to be in an environment where children needed the most attention. Preschool, because research has shown that wherever you get started with intervention, there are outcomes that will happen in your life. My main focuses have been the field of autism and the field of behaviorism, which we'll be focusing on today. The field of behaviorism, or applied behavior analysis. There's an echo.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes. I do
Okay,
not.
let's try to come on. Hello? Hello? How's that?
Better.
Okay. Let me reintroduce myself. We'll get past that point. Okay, behaviorism. That's the topic of today's lecture. The field of behaviorism gives us a very specific format for observing human behavior. It also gives us the tools to how to promote the behaviors that we want and how to increase behaviors that we don't want. Okay? Why is it important for us to focus on behavior? Well, let's see what research has said. Emotional and behavioral problems are linked to academic performance. Academics. If the individual is struggling with understanding the curriculum, understanding the information that's being delivered, understanding perhaps the expectations of the classroom, chances are they'll begin to present inappropriate behaviors. For many students, it's better, in a sense, to be the tough kiddo or to be the funny kiddo than it is to be the one that's considered to be dumb. Right? So as a result, because they're struggling in their area of academics, they'll then begin to present inappropriate behaviors. At the same time, you'll have individuals that struggle with the behaviors, that struggle with attention, focus, or just altogether are making inappropriate choices. Well, those choices will eventually catch up to them and will begin to impact their area of academics. Behavior problems cause academic problems. In turn, academic problems cause behavior problems. Right? I'm a very casual lecturer, so if you feel like you have questions, stop me at any time, please. I really encourage participation. So, questions? Okay, moving on. What else has research said? Social skills are the best predictors of later academic performance. Early in life, we need to teach them appropriate social skills. The tools that they're going to need to be successful later in life. Things like pro-social skills, cooperating, helping, sharing, consulting are better predictors to academic achievement than early academic achievement itself. Which means, even though the child, the individual, is performing well academically, but they don't have those pro-social skills in place, that achievement that has been gained early in life may not continue. It's just as important, if not perhaps a little bit even more important, to focus on teaching them how to behave appropriately amongst our society. Okay? If you have those tools in place and you have your academic ability, you'll continue to progress well. With me so far? Good? It wasn't me, it was research. Additional research. A student's emotional and behavior problems are more stable than his IQ if untreated. What does this mean? IQ, your intelligence quotient, it varies and it's measured against your age. As you get older, it's going to fluctuate, right? Your emotional and behavior problems, they're pretty consistent. You're showing inappropriate behavior. You're making inappropriate choices. Chances are, those are going to be consistent. And what tends to happen, you don't stay at that current level. They begin to worsen as you get older. Okay? If untreated, students will continue to exhibit behavior problems into secondary grades and eventually adulthood. What does this tell us? Nip it in the bud. I like how you phrase it. This tells us that if you don't address them, they're not going to go away. We need to do something. Intervention needs to take place. There needs to be a plan in place to help these individuals to acquire more appropriate skills and eventually be more successful in life. Yeah? Okay. Before moving on with behaviors, I want to talk about the environment. Okay? I need a volunteer at this time. Nothing major. Okay. What I'd like for you to do is just do this. Hit my head. Just tap. Okay? Well, that's on the line. Just tap. Continue to tap. Tap, 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 tap. Our environment is full of stimuli. There's stimuli in our environment. Now there's discriminative stimulus, which is the one stimuli. Is it hard to call it? No. Thank you. Give her a round of applause. Good job. Our environment is full of stimuli. It's everywhere. Okay? There's one stimulus within our environment that produces a desired behavior. There's one thing in our environment that we need to be focusing on in order to get the outcome that we want. Okay? During this little presentation here, there was a second stimulus. This here. The one stimulus that mattered the most was the presentation, paying attention to what's being presented. The second stimulus, not as important. We need to learn to how to discriminate all the second stimulus. When we're in our environment, we need to ask ourselves, what is our child interpreting? What is our child's perspective to the environment? What are they taking from the environment? Are they able to focus on the one thing that matters the most, or are they distracted by second stimulus? Usually, there's not just one second stimulus. It looks more like this. There's a number of different stimuli in our environment that our children need to learn to discriminate. They need to learn to pay less attention to that and focus on the one thing that matters the most. Alright? Let's give a practical example here. If, say, for instance, you're asking your child, put your shoes on inside for school. Right? What's the one thing that you should be focusing on? Put your shoes on. Perhaps the TV's on. Perhaps, what other things go on in the morning?
Toys.
The radio's on. They're playing with their toys. The dog comes into the room.
They don't want to get up.
There's siblings involved, right? All of this is keeping them from focusing on the one thing that matters the most. Our job, what we need to do to help them to pick out the one stimulus that really is important is to help increase the second stimulus. Okay? Think about the time that they have to do homework. When they sit down, is there a number of different stimulus that's impacting them from completing their homework appropriately? Perhaps?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely, right? Is there a designated area at home to work on it? Is the lighting appropriate? Is there, you know, if they're like me, I do a lot of work in front of the TV, because to me, I'm a big dog fan. There's a dog behavior. It tends to be my wife, she's picked up on this, and it's part of my fault for teaching her my techniques here. But she's learned that if she ever wants to gain my attention, and the dog game is on, she needs to stand between me and the TV, and then give me a directive. Right? That's what we need to do. We need to look at our environment. What are our children receiving, and what do we need to do to help eliminate as many of the additional stimuli that don't matter as much? You with me?
Yes.
Good. Alright, let's get back to behaviors. Behavior explanation for human behavior. Everything we do is behavior. The word behavior itself has acquired a very negative connotation, a very negative meaning, right? When we hear the word behavior, we hear the person did something bad. That's usually what we think of, right? But human behavior, or behavior as it's interpreted, behaviorism is everything that we do. The way we move, the way we walk, our manners, the way we present ourselves. It's all behavior. Yeah. If I'm walking down the hallway and I see you, I do this. What am I saying?
Hello.
Hello. Right? Through that behavior, through that gesture, you can gather that I'm saying hi. I grew up in the mean streets of the Monte. You guys know where the Monte is? Yeah. Well, if I'm walking down the street in the Monte and do one of these, what am I saying there?
What does it mean?
Right? Or perhaps it's wrong.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
Same behavior. I'm looking for a different outcome. I was that kind of person. But nonetheless, you can gather that each behavior, whether it be appropriate or inappropriate, whether it's looking for a specific outcome, has a meaning. It's saying something. Okay? So it's neither bad or good. It's more, are they things that they should be doing appropriate? Or are they things that they shouldn't be inappropriate? Yes?
I'd just like to add that some things are appropriate depending on the environment or the time. Some things are, that same behavior can be inappropriate depending on the environment.
Excellent. Yeah. And other behaviors are appropriate at a certain level, or a certain level of presentation, right? One of the things that I commonly come across in my classroom is students turn on the lights. Is that behavior appropriate?
No. Not in the classroom.
What makes it inappropriate?
You should be doing something else, not playing with the light. That's inappropriate.
Good.
Unless
It's
you
an
ask.
appropriate skill for them to acquire. Usually, eventually, at some point in the night, learn how to flip a switch on. It's the excessiveness of that behavior that makes it inappropriate. It's that now it's interfering with bigger things. It's interfering with their academics. It's interfering with their social interactions. It's interfering with other more important social skills that are needed. That's what makes that behavior now inappropriate. You with me? Okay. So we need to ask ourselves, is the behavior that they're presenting socially appropriate? Is it something that they should be doing? What are our social norms? What are the skills that we need to be successful in society? Does it help the individual? Does it promote appropriate interaction or appropriate skills? Does it help them to reach their full potential? Or does serving to limit the progress, if it's in the area of progress, chances are it will be considered to be an inappropriate behavior. As an inappropriate behavior, we should then look to address it and teach them more appropriate behavior so they can ultimately be more successful. Yeah? So human behavior. Behaviors look at behavior in a very specific way. And it concluded that all behavior is learned. We've learned to present ourselves the way we do. There's 3 ways that we learn behavior. Top, somebody has formally walked us through the sequence needed to present a behavior. They taught us in a very specific way. This is how you do whatever. The other way is through imitation. We saw somebody present this behavior, we mirrored it, we imitated it. The other, it's more reflexive, simply by chance. You stumble across a behavior, you like the outcome, you continue to do that behavior. Think of your children who will get this, right? Did somebody teach them to do this? You know, some of them who acquire this behavior, they just by chance. They like the feeling, they like what they see after, throughout maybe it was comforting, maybe it was soothing, maybe whatever it may be, but they learned it by chance. Why is it important to look at behaviors as being learned? Well, if a person learned an inappropriate behavior, chances are they can learn a more appropriate behavior. If we look at it, if we look at behavior as that's just the way they are, that's their character, that's their personality. How much power do we have? What can we do at that point? Not much, right? But if we look at it as that person learned to do this, then we can teach them how to perform something different. With me? Yes? Starting at any time, that's doing great. All behavior is communicative. It all has meaning. There's a function to every single behavior. But remember, walking down the hallway, every one of these, there's a function. I'm suggesting something to my behavior. 2 basic things that people communicate through their behavior. They're trying to gain something or escape something. Okay? They're either trying to gain attention, social interaction. I'm walking down, one of these, I'm trying to gain your attention. I'm trying to interact with you. Something tangible. I come up to you and I take your paper. I'm trying to gain something tangible, something visible, something I can hold. Or sensor stimulation. Something that has to do or is interpreted by our senses. At the same time, we can be trying to escape. We can be trying to escape attention or social interaction. This looks like Johnny, come here. And this is Johnny. Johnny, and I apologize if any of your kiddos' name is Johnny, but I always just pull the first thing that comes to mind. So Johnny today. Johnny, this is Johnny. What is that? What do we call that? Avoidance? Ignoring? They're ignoring us. Defiance, yeah. It definitely falls into that category. They're ignoring us. They're intentionally ignoring us. They hear us, and they're 5 feet from us. We know they're hearing us, but they're choosing to ignore us. That's a behavior suggesting escaping attention. Yeah? Tangible. This one, us teachers, we give away. You give them a challenging assignment, you give them something that they're not interested in. And this is what, I don't have a pencil on me. This is what you get. Or with the picture. Right? That behavior. What is that suggesting? They don't want to do it. They're escaping something tangible. They're escaping that task. Or escaping sensory stimulation. Again, something that has to be processed through our senses. Alright? Things like a loud firework You with me? Okay. So all behaviors are communicative. All behaviors happen for a reason. It's our job, in order for us to be able to help these individuals, in order for us to be able to help our students, help our children, we need to find the why. Why are they doing what they're doing? There's a reason why they're performing that behavior, why they're presenting that behavior. If we're able to answer the why, then we have a better chance of helping them through this behavior. Yes? All behaviors follow a pattern. Behavior itself. These are known as the ABCs in behaviorism. Behavior, what the person did. This is the physical manifestation of behavior. This is what we get to see. We get to see them run, we get to see them jump, we get to see them hit, we get to see them crumble that paper. That's the character, that's the behavior itself. That's what we're able to see. There's something that happens usually right before the behavior. This is known as the antecedent. It is said to be the trigger. In the presence of the antecedent, the behavior will present. If that assignment is challenging for the student, as soon as you present that assignment, you get the crumpled paper, the assignment, the presentation of the assignment is the trigger. That's the antecedent. That's the one thing that set off the behavior. The consequence is what follows the behavior, usually immediately after the behavior. And it is said to be the reinforcement. This is why the individual presented that behavior. And the consequence will be one of these. The reason why they presented that behavior was to get either gain or escape any of these three. Okay? So this is the question that we need to answer. Why? Why are they presenting that behavior? What happened right after the consequence that led them to present that behavior? Yes?
Okay, can you go back to the shoes? So if you tell your kid, go get your shoes on, and he doesn't, because there's a lot of stimuli, what do you do then?
Excellent. The trigger, the one thing that you want them to focus on is get your shoes. The directive, right? You have to look at the conditions under the antecedent. In the antecedent, before you tell them to go get your shoes, look at the environment. What's going to keep them from performing the appropriate behavior in that
What's
environment?
going to keep them? The dog and the toys.
Excellent. So you reduce as much of that stimuli as possible.
So clear out the room and get the dog outside.
You're setting, it's called setting an event. You're trying to prepare them for something, for a desired behavior. The more you can set the event, the better chance you have to produce that desired behavior. Yeah? Okay. I'll go back.
Can you repeat what you said? The event? That's all I heard of event.
Setting an event.
Setting an event.
Yeah, it's you're trying to I guess in a sense, put a platform so that the behavior will be successful or will be successful. You look at the conditions and you have to see it. What can you do prior to asking them to
What do we
take that
do?
test?
I tell him, go get your shoes.
Okay.
And he doesn't have it. So I tell him again, go get your shoes. And he doesn't have it. So I grab him by the arm and I make him, but I don't want to grab him every single time. I just want him to go do it, what I ask.
Okay. Like I said, first things first, what's keeping them from being successful?
The dog and the shoes. The dog and the toys.
Then eliminate the dog, eliminate the shoes. Eliminate the dog, eliminate the shoes.
Get the dog outside.
Keep the shoes. Okay. And once there's less stimuli in the environment, perhaps that will impact the outcome of the behavior.
Mine is getting her up and over. She doesn't want to get up. She performs at 5 o'clock in the afternoon that she doesn't want to get up somewhere. There's nothing in the refrigerator.
That's a tough one. Well, what I do is I have a large cup of coffee and it keeps me going. That's a hard one.
I try to wake her up nice and
Okay.
wake her up and look at it until that's it. And I'm
So you're definitely trying things in the antecedent to occasion that behavior. You're trying to help that behavior present, right? Maybe we can talk about the other component to the pattern. Maybe we'll come up with something. Okay? What's in it for them? This is the other thing we need to ask ourselves. Yeah? The behavior is followed by a consequence. Actually, let's continue, and then we'll come back to your question. B.F. Skinner, good old B.F. Skinner, one of the biggest contributors to behaviorism, introduces a concept known as operant conditioning. Relation between behavior and consequence. So real briefly, the relation between the behavior and its consequence. So we're only focusing on the B and the C component. Relation between the behavior and consequences. What did the person get from performing the behavior? And he presented some very basic, very simple, in a sense, ideas. Two very simple ideas. If an individual likes the consequence, they will continue to perform that behavior. If you like it, you'll keep doing it, because the outcome was something favorable. If an individual dislikes the consequence, the behavior will decrease. Okay? That's straightforward, that's simple, right? You perform something to get a result. You do it to get an outcome. If they like the outcome, they'll continue the behavior. If they don't like the outcome, they'll decrease the likelihood of the behavior. For instance, my job. I like my job. I come to work. I like working with children. The consequence is intrinsic. I like that motivation. Because I like the consequence, because I like coming into the classroom and working with my kiddos, I continue to perform that behavior. You with me? If I didn't like the outcome, you would probably have to find another reason. Good thing I like it. Let's continue. Motivation. Everybody's motivated by something. There's always something that works for every person. Those who know me, you usually see me walking around with my cup of joe. I have a cup of coffee. That's what does it for me. That's my motivation. If you give me a cup of coffee, then some drip from Starbucks, that's sweet. Chances are you'll have me too. You'll probably be able to get me to do almost everything. But there's something that works for everybody. We need to ask ourselves, what's our kiddos' motivation? Why do they want to perform this behavior? Why do they want to display this behavior? If they like the outcome, chances are they'll continue to perform that behavior. If they don't like the outcome, that behavior will decrease. Yes? All people are motivated either intrinsically or extrinsically. Intrinsic motivation comes from oneself. I do it because I like it. I do it because it makes me feel good. I come to work, I work in the preschool program because that makes me feel good. I feel a sense of fulfillment. Extrinsically, it makes me feel good. Right? That's an extrinsic motivator. It's nice to get that extrinsic motivator because what can I do with that money? I can have family, get my house, get my car, go to dinner once in a while, perhaps. But there's an extrinsic motivator connected to that behavior, as well as an intrinsic motivator. For us, really, all we really have control over are those extrinsic motivators. We can't teach that person to like that enforcement. That has to come from them. All we really do is try to provide something that we feel is motivating. Something extrinsic that they're willing to work for. Depending on the activity, your person may rely more on intrinsic or extrinsic motivation. Schools that employ a combination of intrinsic and extrinsic strategies are most successful. here are reinforcement surveys. There's 3 different reinforcement surveys, and they're very simple, very basic questions that you can have your child read through and answer, or you can sit down with them and ask them a series of questions. And you'll have it. So go ahead and read these. The idea is to find what works for them. What are they going to work with? Continuing on the same topic, reinforcement. Reinforcement, one of the most simple, basic reinforcements are things that we fit. For the most part, we don't have to teach somebody to like it.
Going back to that previous slide,
Uh-huh.
how do you employ an intrinsic motivator? I'm feeling it.
It's a little bit different because it has to be intrinsic to them.
Right.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, really the motivators that we have the most control over are those external ones, things that we provide. And hopefully, motivation is on our hierarchy. It's on our hierarchy, so it's on our continuum. You start with the basic motivators, which are the most basic of motivators are your edibles. Because it's something that you don't have to teach usually to like, right? You like chocolate here. Well, most of you do something for chocolate. I know my kids do, right? You don't have to necessarily teach somebody to like that. There's already a motivation there. The other basic primary reinforcer is something that's sensory. One thing that I do a lot of my preschoolers is to think of when you had your you want to engage, right? You want to interact. What were the activities that you did? It was very engaging. You didn't have to teach them to like that sensory input. Yeah? And it goes from there. Those are your basic reinforcements, and it works its way up, all the way to the top, which is your intrinsic motivators. So to get an intrinsic motivator, it's not as easy. So you start with whatever level you're at with reinforcement. Yeah. So you have your edibles. You have your praise and your attention. Some kids just want some attention. Something cool. Complete their homework so that mom can spend an extra half an hour with them before bedtime. Some kids will finish their chores so they can go outside and play on the park with them. That's their motivation. Tangibles. Tangibles are things that you can hold. Right? One example of a tangible. How about a video game? You guys, your kids like video games? iPods. Times have changed. iPods, iPhones, iPads, right? That's something tangible. That's something they can hold. If they like it, chances are they're going to do something in order to have access to them. You with me? Privileges. Maybe an extra 5 minutes before bedtime. You can stay up an extra 5 minutes before going to bed. Or maybe watching another 30 minutes of TV that day. Whatever they're willing to earn, they have to be willing to perform the desired behavior. If they do something, then they get that reinforcement. If they don't do it, guess what? That reinforcement won't be delivered. You're putting them on a contingency plan. If you do this, then you get this. If you don't do this, that's fine. Alright? I come to work, I want my money. If I don't come to work, should I expect that money? We're teaching them life skills. Okay? We're teaching them skills that's going to help them to be successful, not just in elementary, but junior high or high school, for the rest of their life. One thing we always have to remember is we have to withhold the reinforcement. If they have access to the reinforcement, if they have their iPad, they have their TV, if they're watching TV, if they have all your attention, satiation. Be careful with that. Okay? If you're using a reinforcer, don't go at it to the point where it loses its magic. Okay? You want to continue to promote a need for that reinforcement.
My son has gone to the point where he feels like he has to earn everything. And so he basically doesn't ever get anything. He doesn't do what he needs to do to earn something. So whenever he asks me, can I do this? I said, no, we need to earn it. So it almost, anything that he wants to do, he has to earn it. So he almost feels like, well, I need to try. And one thing that I can point out for him is, well, you don't have to earn by much 2 days a week. I let him do that. So I just find something to point out to him that there's at least a number that he gets to do without permission. But I think that there is a point in which you can
Withhold everything. You're exactly right. And that's the case. That may lead to a condition known as learned helplessness. They try to have an impact in their environment. They try until they get to a point where what's the sense of try? Right? They give up at that point. That's not what we want. We want to keep them motivated. We want to keep them engaged. We want to keep them interested. So, in those situations, you put a state of deprivation, the really cool reinforcements, the things that you really have to earn. And there's certain things like things that they just need every day. You know, those, like, yeah, some kids they just need some movement, right? So if you make them earn something that they need, it's counterproductive in a sense, right? So you want to make sure that you have a set of reinforcements that they're not necessarily needs, they're things that they feel are needs, but in reality they're not human needs. But they're going to work for. And you withhold those and you keep those as your reinforcements. There's other things that they continue to need access to. Just throwing some examples out. Child completes chores. What's a good reinforcement? What can you do? Money? Money works. I have a 3-year-old son doing the money system. In your room, you can solve it.
Oh, I don't think money because they have to do.
Well, every child
It's like their own room, they don't get to reward for that, but if they're like cleaning bathrooms, sitting down, like communal stuff, then they get reward for that.
wow. Well, there you go. There's certain, every child's going to have behaviors that are unique to them, things that they need to work on. Yeah? Yeah, excellent. How about finishing reading a book? Reading a book. What's a good way to motivate your child after completing the book? Looking at our reinforcements. Here you go. Edibles. Grapes. Yeah, excellent. You get another book. Yeah, the idea is that you have to find a reinforcement that the individual likes. Something that they want to work with. If they like crazy, that's how you reinforce them. If they love reading and they want another book, okay, so you capture it. Here you go. Right? Privileges. Edibles. I'll take you to Shakey's. I'll take you to what's a place nowadays? Nickel. I'll take you to Nickel. It's a privilege, right? There's always something that they're willing to work with. Yeah. All right, another good way to motivate them is through the use of the Premack principle. Okay, the Premack principle, when low frequency behaviors are followed by high frequency behaviors, the effect is to increase the probability of the low frequency behavior. You guys got it? We'll just go ahead and move on. Basically, what this means is something that they don't like to do is followed by something that they really like to do. Yeah? In my classroom, one of the things that is followed by something that they really like to do. If they want access to that thing that they really like to do, they have to perform that low frequency behavior. They have to perform that one thing that they don't care too much about. Yeah? Vegetables. Try your vegetables. Kiss your vegetables. Just kiss it. Okay, good job. Now you can go play outside. Okay. The idea is it's an activity reinforcer. If they don't like to do this, follow it by something that they really like to do. If they really like to do what follows, they'll get through whatever they don't like to do as much. Yeah. In our program, we call this the first step. Okay? First, you read a chapter from your book and you play video games. First step. First, in your room, then you get computer time. First, complete your homework, then you can talk on the phone. Yeah? Low frequency, followed by something that's high frequency, something they like. Good here? Sounds more complicated than it really is. Guidance. As parents and as teachers, we've chosen to embark on a journey with our students, with our children. Okay? What's going to help them as we walk hand in hand with this journey is our guidance. Adults help the child to learn to manage their impulses, express feelings, channel frustration, solve problems, and learn the difference between acceptable and unacceptable behavior. That's our role. We've chosen to embark on this journey. This is what we need to do to help them be successful, to keep them on the path towards being successful. We don't only want to control behaviors. Think about human behavior. Think about humans. How complex are humans? Is there a chance, is there a way to actually control their behavior? Yes. Yeah? The way we do this is by controlling the factors, the contributors to those behaviors. Okay? We talked about the antecedent, what we can do prior to asking them to do something. We talked about the consequence, how we reinforce behaviors that we want. That's how we really can start to make an impact on behaviors. Okay? We lead by example, yeah. If we expect it to happen, we need to show them how that behavior does. Okay? What we want to do is help guide children through their challenging behaviors. We want to teach them more appropriate behaviors. And we always want to remember that this is a process. Okay? I like to present it as a journey because that's in fact what it is. You're walking hand in hand with this journey. And it is a process. Every behavior, every inappropriate behavior is a teachable moment. It's an opportunity to address, shape, teach them a more appropriate way, and continue your journey. Right? If you want to have an impact in life, if you really want to help them overall, you need to be able to address every single behavior. Continue on that process. Continue on that path. With me? Excellent. Here's some tools. I'm just not going to throw you out there without any tools. Okay, so 6 positive approaches. Here are the 3. Tell them what you want them to do. Don't just stop what they shouldn't be doing. Tell them what to do after they have stopped. Okay? For example, they're running in your house. Stop running. You stop the inappropriate. Now what? Now you tell them what they should be doing. Because if you don't tell them what they should be doing, they'll go, well, I can't run. What else can I do? Do one of these. Well, and then you say, stop skipping. What else can I do? Go get creative. And chances are that when they get creative, won't be ways that you want to go. There won't be behaviors that you're really looking for. So be specific. Stop. Whatever they're doing, this is what you should be doing. Stop running. You need to point out the things that they're doing that are inappropriate. Those things are so much more obvious, right? They're hitting their sister, they're hitting the dog. That's obvious. And we say, stop that. But there's opportunities for us to catch them being good. There's moments where they're not doing anything. There's moments where they're just sitting quietly. Catch them being good. If you want them to continue to sit quietly, if you want them to continue to keep their hands to themselves, if you want them to focus on their reading, on their homework, on whatever it may be, we have to be able to highlight those moments. Catch them being good and address them, reinforce them. Like how you're sitting, thank you for sitting quietly. You want to overemphasize the things that they're doing that are appropriate and not only focus on the things that they're doing that are inappropriate. Yeah? Give reminders of what you want them to do. Sometimes they just need a heads up. Remember, when we get home, you need to start your homework. Right? What if they get home and they're thinking, oh, I get to watch TV, I get to go play outside, I get to do this. Give them a reminder, this is my expectation, this is what I would like you to do when you get home. If you remind them, you have a better chance of them actually completing that task. Additional tools. Use positive redirection. Look at the behavior itself. Is the behavior itself appropriate? Going back to our example, running at home. Is running itself appropriate? It's a motor activity, right? Like you said, some of our children need that physical activity. They need to be able to move. Running in the house, is that appropriate? That's what makes it inappropriate at that point, right? The activity itself, the behavior itself is not inappropriate. It's how we presented that behavior that makes it inappropriate. So this is a good opportunity to redirect. Running in the house, stop running, let's go outside. You can run as much as you want outside, right? You're promoting that desired behavior, that behavior that perhaps is a need for that individual, but you're redirecting it in a more appropriate way. Be specific when explaining what it is you want them to learn. Okay? Try to stay away from generalized phrases. Things like good job. Right? Miss King, good job. Good job for what? What did she do? She probably didn't keep up. Wait. There's a attention to what they do. Right? Be specific. Praise them for what you want them to praise them. Good job sitting down. I like it. Thank you so much for paying attention. That was specific. Now she knows. I paid attention. I got attention. Okay, I like it. I like it. I'll continue to do whatever got me that attention. Yeah, so be specific when you're praising them. I like how, oh, you did a great job when you sat and completed your homework. Yeah? Give explanations for what you are asking them to do. Sometimes, children just need an explanation. Oftentimes, when we give them a directive, we get resistance, right? We tell them to do something, and they say no. Not because they can't do it, not because it's challenging, not for any other reason, but simply because you told them to do something. What helps with this? Give them an explanation. Put your jacket on because it's cold outside and I really want you to get sick. Let's take it a step further. Okay. It's time to eat lunch because we're going to go to the store and you're going to be hungry. Right? Chances are they might just complete that task. They might just perform that behavior because of what might result if they don't. Yeah? Questions on any of these? Man, this is cool for you. Alright, we're working with your kids. What am I going to use? Oh, I know. Positive redirection. Alright, in conclusion, to close, if you do what you always did, you'll get what you always got. There's one of those quotes that I kept for me year and year, and actually I've got Well said. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's exactly it. If we want to see change, we're all right there. If we want to see change, change needs to happen with us first. We need to be able, we need to be willing to make a change. Because if we've been doing the same thing over and over and we're getting the same result, it's not our kiddos, it's not our students. It's something that we're doing that needs to change. Something that we need to add, something that we need to modify, something that we need to alter one way or another. Something needs to happen so that we can get the outcome that we're looking for. Yeah? Remember, if you're embarking on that journey, you're on that path. Okay? Part of helping them is not so much their responsibility, it's what am I going to do to help them? What am I going to do to promote the behaviors that I really, really do? All right? Exactly.
I mean, it's like, I'll give you an example. I have a long history of family alcohol. Me, I had an alcohol, whatever, drug drinking. So I need to show them that, I'll let it go on. My parents work for me, having common sense. You got to change that cycle. It's like, men and social women, now you got to change that into my kid, and then it starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like not drinking, it's like not insulting, it's like not going to gangs and all that stuff. It always has to start somewhere.
It does. And if you want to see that change, it has to start with us. Right? In order to impact others, the one person that we have full control over is ourselves. We have full control over our behaviors. If we want somebody else to present desired behavior, you need to come from us first.
We're the biggest people.
Exactly.
I'm going to say all offense to teach.
And
Once they go all there, they learn what we do. So,
and teacher will agree with you. Comments, questions? I'm here for autographs. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for joining us.
No, I just want to say one quick thing. That when I was having behavioral problems with my sons, I was watching a lot of The Nanny. Have you guys watched that show?
Oh, definitely.
And it really helped. And then going on the website, there's like a lot of resources for reward systems and paperwork. I got a lot of that website and that program.
And thank you for reading that, Ms. Diller. We will have these documents posted on our school's website at the hopschools.org. So hard copies, but if you want to share with your friends or your spouses at home, they are available electronically too. I have a feeling in Mr. Garza is going to have about 20 cups of Starbucks venti, black, no sugar. Sugar is necessary. Spaced out. But Mr. Garza and I have had countless conversations along the same topic of discussion. Each time I hear from him, I learn something new. So hopefully he can pick something up that you can apply at home in house today. We wish you good luck. The teachers have heard very similar presentations and are applying a lot of the same strategies that we talk about, rewards, consequences, and classrooms. So that consistency that we build at home with the school really helps to